Welcome to Stepping into Life. I'm David Hoke, your host. With me today, as always, my good friend David Pate, who's the Executive Director of the Family Counseling Center, Middle Tennessee. And David, today you have your friend Ben Jones, who is involved and, I guess, founder of Tulip Recovery. So why don't you introduce Ben to us, and we'll let the two of you have a good conversation.
It's a pleasure to have Ben with us today. He's one of our new partners working together to try to help those who are dealing with a lot of different issues, especially drug and alcohol addiction. Ben has a fantastic story, and I think it would be helpful for us to hear what he's been through, where he's come from, how God has really moved in his life to make a difference in those around. Ben, thank you for being with us. Tell us a little about your story and Tulip Hill as well.
Yes, sir. So I appreciate you having me out to do this and talk to you a little bit about some of my past struggles, what I've gone through, and how we kind of wound up where we are today.
Yes, sir.
And for me, I grew up in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and had a great upbringing, great family, still do. Been supportive throughout, and never gave up on me, and stuck with me. So around the age of 17, I grew up with quite a bit of insecurities, a lot of fear of other people, what they thought of me, how they felt about me, and those were some of my driving forces behind behaviors prior to ever using a substance or drinking alcohol. At the age of 17, I began drinking and moved on to substances throughout within a couple months of being in college. And from there, I went through a couple of arrests, went through treatment 4 or 5 times, and really the downhill slide started pretty early on. I mean, my progression was quick, and quickly just started snowballing downhill from arrest to treatment, all along trying to go through college, play college baseball, and do these things that did bring me some joy outside of drug use. And eventually it got to the point where I was stealing and doing whatever I had to do to get substances, and that involved things that I'm not proud that I had to do. And with that being said, I went through treatment for the fourth time there down in South Florida. I got sent down there to a sober living. I was asked to leave the sober living home, rightfully so, for using in the house, and became homeless down in South Florida.
So you was a pretty hard user.
I was. I used consistently on a daily basis.
How many times did you fail?
Failed a lot. I'd say, countless. Every day, every night I tell myself I'm not going to use the next morning, and I thought that I was clinically insane, because the first thing I do the next morning is figure out how I could get the substance that I wanted, the drug that I wanted, to go on with my day. It was so hard. I remember I've been in recovery, going on close to 7 years now.
Right.
And I remember like it was yesterday, waking up in the morning, not being able to get out of bed, feeling like I had the flu times 10 with the withdrawal symptoms that I was going through. So using was my life.
So did it exchange you for from your family?
It did. I think, and that's something I think is important to note here, is my family tried to figure out where they went wrong and what happened, because I have an older brother and an older sister who didn't have the same struggles. I mean, they've had their own, stuff in life, just like everyone, but nothing to the extent of my drug abuse.
So the drug abuse affected not just you, but your whole family system, family unit as well.
100%. Family disease.
That's something that I'm not sure a lot of our listeners will understand. They may think Well, it's the one that's using.
Hmm.
It's affecting them the most. I understand that. My daughter went through a lot of those same issues you had went through, and it was hard on me. And I can understand your parents and your family. How did we go wrong? And I appreciate what Tulip Hill does and how you developed, in which we're going to hear more about that in a moment, of helping the whole family unit heal. But a lot of people don't understand. Just because you go into rehab doesn't mean you're going to get it.
Right.
It's a journey. It's a process. So continue and tell us about your process, your journey.
Okay. Well, once I was homeless down in South Florida, I wound up in my last treatment center. That was November 15th, 2013. So, and I was a little bit more willing, I was very broken. I had nothing. Looked very, very ill physically, mentally, spiritually, the whole deal. And went into treatment and was ready for the first time to um, follow a couple suggestions, listen to some people,
Yes, sir.
and kind of get out of my own way. And it took some time. It took a couple weeks there to really buy into the process and what I was doing. The biggest change for me, really, though, was just being willing to get vulnerable, speak to other people about my life and what I struggle with and what I've gone through, and some of the shame and guilt that comes along with drug addiction, and
Yes.
really processing some of that. So from that point, I got involved in the fellowship outside of just treatment, as well as some 12-step fellowship and things like that. I got a sponsor, followed through on what they asked me to do. For the first time, I was willing to listen to other people, and I did not know what was best for me. I have proven that.
Yes, sir.
So at that point, I kept going through the process, finished treatment, the whole treatment model, and wound up becoming a little bit happier as we went. And life started getting a little bit better. I started working in the field at a year sober and became a behavioral health technician, and worked my way up through case management, through admissions, went back for my master's degree in counseling, and was an intern therapist as well. So worked in all avenues of the treatment facility, and knew that I was going to want to at some point come home and help. I didn't know to what capacity.
Right.
And along the way, Tulip Hill Recovery became a realistic goal, something that could happen. And moved back to Murfreesboro, Tennessee, opened up around 4.5 years ago, and been going strong ever since. And the passion here is the community. It's every individual that walks through the door. One thing I can say for certain is at our place, you're cared about. And one things I like to say is we like to empower our individuals without enabling, and that's a fine line.
That's right.
In order to do that, and also, like you said, educating families. A big piece with families is education on. Now, maybe you didn't do anything to really stir this or drive this, but there's ways to help the individual that we're working with, your family member, progress and heal and get better. And sometimes that's just setting a boundary, as simple as setting a boundary, and no longer enabling that family member. And that's something that our clinicians walk through with the family. They speak with the family on a phone call every week, updating the family on what's taking place and what's going on. And but our treatment model is set up to slowly reintegrate an individual back into society. 90-day treatment model.
That's not as prevalent around here as I thought it might be. I'm not sure how many others facilities that do that. I don't know of any that we work with and have worked with in the past. So tell us what makes Tulip Hill unique in this area.
Well, there's the first thing I'll say is everyone that works for me was hired by me
Right.
and cares about what they do. Their heart's in it. And the second thing I'll say is um, the continuum of care and being with the same clinician throughout 90 days and stepping down through the different phases of the program. So the first 30 days, we're looking at more of an intensive, structured, accountable, with staff 24/7. Therapy 6 days a week, 6 hours a day, and also trying to get them out to do something fun. Learn you can have fun in recovery,
Mm-hmm.
and then stepping into, and that's called partial hospitalization. That's what we call it, but really it's like it's similar to a residential facility, but our individuals live off site in our houses that we have, and then they step down into intensive outpatient 5 days a week. Which is also a little bit different, but going from the very intensive piece to IOP 3 days a week is very hard on a lot of people. It's a big difference, big change. And so stepping into 5 days a week, 3 hours a day, in the third month, 3 days a week, 3 hours a day. Drug tests, breathalyze, the whole deal. The structure and accountability that's needed for someone in early recovery, to identify triggers, to identify what's led them out in the past and be able to process it and try and prevent it from happening again.
Those are very unique issues for the person that's going through addiction. We see that in our facilities as well. People coming in but going out. It's kind of a revolving door like you went through. And I understand you formulated Tulip similar to the one that was in Florida that you went through.
Yes, sir.
And it seems to have worked. We see people go into 30 days and come out in 30 days and come out. They need that. Some people need that long term to help them recover from themselves.
Mm-hmm.
People dealing with stress, depression, family issues. They just don't have the tools. And so what you have found is that good combination to give them the tools not only for addiction, but for life and dealing with the emotions, things that go along with that, the triggers.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people self-medicate their issue.
Yeah, if I can touch on that real quick.
Please.
We're not treating drugs and alcohol. We're treating the underlying issues.
Correct.
What's driving the drinking or drug use? That's really what we're taking a hard look at, and that's what we have to figure out and process as people that want to be in recovery and long-term recovery and find happiness. Otherwise, it's always going to creep back up. So from the outside looking in, it looks like drugs and alcohol is the problem. It's our answer. That's how we feel better. Self-medication.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to really take a look at what's driving that and process that.
Okay. So that seems to be working. I know the ones that we have brought to your attention for further treatment have done well and continue to do well. And so I know the process works firsthand. And that's why we're grateful to be partnering with Tulip moving forward into the future. How can people get in touch with you if they need further information from you?
They can go to our website at tuliphillrecovery.com and check everything out. And our admissions line is also on there. And reach out to that admissions line, and we have a number of people that can answer that phone. And if if you don't think you're a fit for treatment, or if you just want to talk to someone, or it doesn't cost anything, just call the phone. We'll talk to you about what's going on and try and direct you in the right direction, what's needed there.
I know you've got great people working with you and for you. They're friends of mine, and they have that heart. When you say they have a heart, this is not a business. This is their heart to serve. I know that's your heart to serve. Ben, it's been a joy to have you talking with us this morning, giving us a little glimpse into what's been going on in your life and what's going on in the life of Tulip Hill. Let people know you're there. It's a fine recovery center. It's personal based. You're not just a number.
Yeah, that's right. That's how it works. Yeah.
When we first met,
Yeah.
you said that right up front. We're not looking for numbers. We're looking to help people.
100%.
And you've been true to that word ever since I've known you, and I deeply appreciate it.
Well, it's a pleasure working with you as well. We really enjoy it.
But we're enjoying the partnership as well. Thank you, David.
Ben, it's great to have you with us this morning. And this show is all about giving back to the communities, helping people see how they can help themselves or be helped by others. And I appreciate so much, David, even this morning. Not quite a typical show, but David just kind of took it on, and I sat back and listened. And it's just impressive and encouraging to see people that have avenues and opportunities, places to go for folks that really can jump in and help them with the heart that you guys both have. Man, I see that David's love and appreciation for what you're all about, what your center's all about. So folks at home, if you're in need or know somebody in need, reach out, ask for help. That's what it's all about, stepping into the life, not letting life chase you and run you down, but taking life full on and stepping in when you can. So until we meet again, we just pray for you, pray for one another, pray for our country.